Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now Bullseye's deep dive has come out earlier today and we're gonna take a look at it and figure out what we think, what I think, what are the great things, what are the things that I'm kind of worried about, and so on and so forth. But first and foremost, I must say that Bullseye does in fact look quite good for sure. Guaranteed crits in his base, as well as ability to bypass all miss, just being there without you having to do anything ever, already makes for a very solid base of a champion. Because typically, if you do have some sort of miss prevention abilities, they are either timed or you need to get your special attacks or do something. Very few champions in the game just completely bypass miss, period. Just like very few champions, I don't think any champions in the game have just like critical hits, period. Now, that is one of the things that do kind of worry me as well in regards of his damage output, because obviously whenever there are guaranteed crits, means he's going to have very stable set level damage output, and the fact that he's going to interact extremely well with any attack modifiers. And he does have some slight, not too powerful cruelties in his kit, as well as the fury that he can gain, which immediately, makes you think he's going to have quite high damage output. But that, in my opinion, remains to be seen. And why I'm saying this is basically because of Misty Knight and Maulman to a degree. Maulman's damage output is very, very good when you can bleed. When you can't bleed, the guaranteed crits without attack modifiers don't do too much. Similar with Misty Knight. Misty Knight can play the entire fight with guaranteed crits, but then the damage output isn't up there unless you're like running recall masteries, which he's kind of okay with. But it still will not be a viable thing to do for, let's say, battlegrounds or potentially some of the Alliance war fights. At the same time, the big thing that I'm kind of annoyed by is the whole dialed in mechanic thing again. And this dialed in, to me, it kind of seemed like more like visions. And I'll be honest, I'm not a particularly big fan of that. I think with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, when you just have like the one, it's not too bad. But we'll see. Overall, not the biggest fan of dialed in, but there are tons of other amazing things to talk about Bullseye. He's gonna have debuff purification. He's going to be pseudo power sting immune when awakened, which is kind of interesting thing that they have come up with here as well. Here we can see that completely bypasses miss. He also has access to instant bleeds on every hit, basically. Bullseye is immune to precision or fatigue effects as well, and gains an unstacking cruelty buff for 8 seconds when this immunity triggers. Buff will not retrigger while already active. So that's a nice change there. And what else do we have here? When the opponent would be inflicted with a bleed effect, gain a cruelty passive, and you do that with basically all your lights, I believe. For 8 seconds, pause during special attacks as a defender. These are also paused for 3 seconds each time the opponent avoids a basic attack. So those cruelty passives will be present throughout the entire fight, pretty much. So he inflicts bleeds with his blade attacks, and his blade attacks are second light attack, third light attack, fourth light attack, and the final hit of special 2 and 3. Special 1, I believe, also inflicts additional bleeds there. So as we can see here, through block, it's a decent bit of extra damage. However, what we need to worry about is that we're going to be getting that. Because we're going to be taking some damage whenever we're trying to parry the guy. Right? For each personal cruelty passive, physical resistance is increased as well. So if you do play him correctly, he might have quite a lot of physical resistance. I believe you can get up to 8 or 10 of the cruelties. That's 4,500. It's not quite absorbing on level, but it's still going to be very, very noticeable as well. And I do like some massive resistances on my champions when I'm using them, when I'm going up against opponents. Not so much. But physical resistance will also make him kind of better against rupture effects in general, which is kind of cool. And he does have that evade mechanic, that whenever he feels a bar of power, he gains his kind of like away charge, and then whenever you parry, you activate whenever you get hit or parry. I think it's parry. And then he can also shrug off the stun when attacked while stunned when that evade is active. So that's called Killer Instinct. Gaining a bar of power grants an unstacking Killer Instinct passive for 3 seconds. This is paused during Bullseye's special attacks and while over 1 bar of power, or until a personal evade triggers. So you basically start with it having paused. While Killer Instinct is active, Bullseye has 100% chance to evade incoming basic attacks, beautifying any non-stun debuffs. Any stun debuffs in the process. The evade will not trigger while blocking. Killer Instinct and its effects are not affected by ability accuracy reduction. So whenever he's going to feel a bar of power, next time you try to hit him with basic, you can try and evade. That's going to be annoying as hell in defense, especially because as a defender, he will have super high chance to activate special attack straight after an evade, and then it's also going to be unblockable. At the very least, first hit will be. So there is some defensive annoyance in there already for sure. When Killer Instinct expires, as an attacker, it goes on cooldown for 12 seconds, or whilst you strike opponent 10 times. So that kind of reminds you of Silk a bit. When evading, Bullseye counterattacks and inflicts an instant bleed as well, so you do not want him to evade to begin with, but again, he will be activating special attacks when he evades as a defender. And here we can see you also disable basically your level 3 for 1 second after that evade. So he has an effective way never to throw a special 3 in the fight, which is kind of good because I don't think special 3 is great to begin with. And so there is an element of FAM, and I do like that bit a lot. I do like that you can, not use a level 3. That's super handy in a lot of situations. Right, so what else do we have? We have passive stun on the level 2. We have some instabilities, all special attack 2 and activation gain non-stacking 25% impact passive and inflict a non-stacking 50% bleed vulnerability passive. Both of these effects last 30 seconds. So your blade attacks will do more damage, and impact basically does block damage to the opponent. And then you also inflict a passive stun. When you're level 1, you can gain true accuracy, which will let you bypass evade and auto block, which obviously you do want in a skilled champion as well. And level 3 effectively inflicts 50% disorient, and your cruelties are paused whilst, that disorient is active. So I don't think that's a particularly great special attack, considering he doesn't have any other way to reduce the opponent's ability accuracy. Activating special 1 or 2 immediately after counterattack makes the first hit of the special attack passively unblockable and grants 3000 Fury passive for 6 seconds. Fury passive will not re-trigger while active and is paused during Bullseye's special attacks. So that is kind of the reassuring bit in his kit. If I didn't see this Fury in his kit, I'd be very, very worried. Now that it is there, I do feel a bit safer about his overall damage output, because this is obviously going to be something that you want to do. You will want to evade and then immediately throw your special, because that will also make it unblockable and will give you the Fury. As we can basically see here. Activating a perfect release bonus grants an indefinite dialed-in passive with increasing the potency of personal cruelty by 20. That's not a huge increase, but still it also re-triggers all your cruelties, so that is going to be helpful to just kind of maintain as many cruelties as you can. So the level 3 disorient we saw there, and then his Sig ability where he basically becomes pseudo power sting immune. And also whenever either champion is stunned or struck by a heavy attack, Bullseye has a 50% chance to purify 50% of all debuffs up to maximum of 10. The stun debuff from Parry Mastery does not count. Now, this thing, though, I don't know. I don't think his Sig ability is really needed, to be honest, because as a Purify, this sounds more like a defensive annoyance than something you can reliably use offensively. Because, again, even at a max Sig, you only have a 50% chance to purify 50% of the debuffs. You obviously don't know which ones you're going to be purifying. And it's not something you'd want to base a strategy around in general. So I think it's more of a defensive annoyance. And becoming pseudo power sting immune is cool, but that's still significantly less valuable than, debuff shrugging in general, like just getting rid of them or not having them applied, like with Kingpin or Jabari Panther or Crossbones or some other champions. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, obviously it's still handy to have. It's just very oddly specific, I suppose. Overall, I'm definitely excited for Bullseye. I do think he's going to be a very, very good champion. He's kind of sold as a, defender and attacker, so double purpose champion. There are a lot of inherent things that I do like, a lot of things that I would want clarification from, like his exact speed in Valgrounds and damage output in general, as well as how easy it is going to be to get those dialed in passives, how important they will be, and a few more bits and bobs here and there. But ultimately, he looks solid. He looks like a champion with a purpose, because obviously he's going to be, very good at countering Photon, especially when awakened, bypassing that miss completely, getting the purifies up. He's going to be very good at, in general, going after science champions, and also working in many of the metas that we see that are often debuff heavy or something. So yeah, look forward to seeing more and more gameplay of him. Look forward to getting my hands on Bullseye myself. And wait, this was a cool fight in Polygons. Irrelevant, I forgot I took this screenshot. Yeah, that is it for now. We obviously do not have the synergies yet. The rotation seemed fairly simple too. Basically, get to your level 2, then you can drop your level 1s and do as much damage as you can, whilst doing the counterweight special attack thing. So let me know what you guys think, and look forward to seeing White Tiger's deep dive tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information